Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have The Hybrid Project. So, The Hybrid Project is on Reddit/creepypasta, and it is by ATTE212. And based on what I know of from what I've seen in the comments of it, it was actually loosely based off of the leaked script for Jurassic Park 4 that came out on the internet like years ago. Like we were in high school when I actually caught wind of it. It was like a couple of years after Jurassic Park 3 had come out, and I remember reading about it because I was super hyped because I wanted another Jurassic Park 4, and then I had to wait like a decade for Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to say without any sense of irony, I was very excited and very content with. I like Jurassic World.
Yeah.
But that is not Jurassic Park. That is not the Hybrid Project. We'll get right into this. So, in 2005, a private genetics lab in Costa Rica did research on bioengineering, creating several dinosaurs from lizard, bird, and fossil DNA. They eventually go on to hybridize these experiments with human DNA.
Because that's the next logical thing to do.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it's space!
God damn it.
The hybrids are a T-Rex, codenamed 01, raptors, which are codenamed 02 to 08 because they're a pack, Triceratops, which is 09, and Carnotaurus, which is 10. So 01 is aggressive and tries to escape constantly. 02 and 08, like I said, are a pack, and at first seem to have strong communication skills toward each other, and even the Utah raptor, the pure breed like species they created in the other paddock next to it. But when they try to introduce the Utah raptor into the same paddock as the hybrids attack and eat it. 09 is actually quite peaceful and forms a bond with its working scientist, Dr. Rogers. At some point, the raptor hybrids, some of the raptor hybrids escape into 09's paddock and attack it, but are fended off before scientists can tranquilize them and move them back to their cell. Out of all the hybrids, 09 is the most amicable to the scientists. And then we have number 10, just doesn't care about the scientists. In fact, just wants to sleep in its enclosure. Until 01 manages to dig under the wall of its paddock to 10's paddock and rips it apart, killing it before the 01 can be tranquilized. So, after these incidences, the scientists observe about a pretty good, solid 20 days of no issues. And then a hurricane shuts down power to the facility, and things go Jurassic Park and Dino Horror all over, or like Dino Crisis. As like the raptors escape, kill guards, take their guns because they're hybrids, so they know how to use guns.
Yeah, you didn't elaborate too much on the hybridness of them. They're literally anthropomorphic dinosaurs.
Yes, and so like we have like T-Rex sapien or Tyrannosapien Rex, and I think it's just a Raptor sapien. And then there's Triceratops sapien, and then Carnosapien.
And yeah, sure those aren't the names, but whatever.
And they're basically various degrees of bipedal, like humanoid dinosaur people, essentially, with varying sizes as well. So anyways, the raptors are basically picking off people, but are fended off against, and most of them some of them are killed by the scientists, but at a heavy cost. And then 01 shows up and kills everyone except for 02, one of the lead raptor, and Dr. Rogers.
He's not the lead raptor. 8 was the lead raptor.
Oh, right, yeah. 8 was the lead raptor. So 02 survived. Then 09 hears Rogers' cries for help and fights 01 to the death. 09 manages to spear 01 in the heart with its head horns, and 01 manages to bite a chunk out of 09's neck. Dying, it manages to speak to Dr. Rogers, as it has been learning actual like sign language and stuff like that, and actually manages to mimic words, I guess English, I would assume. And or it could be Spanish, I guess, because it is in Costa Rica. But
the words we're reading are English. So
yes, exactly.
That's all can go off.
And Dr. Rogers, like, who's crying over like the loss of her friend and her colleagues and stuff like that, and in his dying breath, 09 exclaims that Dr. Rogers is their best friend. So we get a daw moment. And then 02 shows up after all the carnage, but rather than killing Dr. Rogers, as she was expecting, 02, who's also very sad over the loss of their pack, merely offers a hand to help Dr. Rogers to her feet, and that's where we end the story. So now we move on to everyone tolerates the Grandma Inquisitions! At this point, let's go right on to this one. The end results were heavily misshapen chicks with traces of scales on their body. So misshapen is actually wrong. It's misshapen. There needs to be an extra S, and you don't do misshapen. Like, the ED doesn't need to be there for misshapen.
Mm-hmm.
On to the next one. They used the other DNA samples to mix with chicken embryos, and once Aegean, they successfully recreated the dinosaurs. So it's, again, not... just the I and the A are swapped.
Or that's the name of their company.
And once Aegean, No.
Aegean is the name of the company.
Except that doesn't work at all because...
I'm trying to help.
I know. You're trying to help in the wrong direction.
I know. It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Aegean genetics.
Okay. And then this one. Unlike the chicken embryos, the scientists had more control over the DNA structure. So structure is actually supposed to be structure. It's just, again, it's a C instead of a T. Or it needs to be a T rather than a C. Then this one here. This one's going to be a little bit more subtle, but thanks to Google Docs and their spelling check, I was able to catch this one. See, I'll fully admit that I use that.
As long as you admit you're cheating, that's fine.
It's not cheating. It's kind of...
I know. It kind of is, though.
They stood fully upright and were much more dangerous than the recreated dinosaurs. So then is just supposed to be... It's the other than. Like, it's than, not then. I hate the English language.
It's pretty bad.
On to the next one. HDH-01's hands also had 2 fingers, since its base genome had 2 fingers as well. But the arms of this hybrid were huge, and much more man-like. The skull is very much like that of the Tyrannosaurus, only with a spike coming out the back of its head. Alright, so I'm just going to say this once, because it happens way too often in the story. But this story has a lot of issues with tense. Like, past tense and present tense are constant, and it really needs to just be past tense. Mm-hmm. Because this story is told in the past tense for the most part, but then there's a lot of present tense stuff added in that just doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to bring it up anymore, but I just know that this has to get looked at in for past tense.
Mm-hmm. Also, with that section, I found it personally kind of weird how it's one of the sentences in there is it's just so tiny and it could be connected to other things. The sentence is just, it's a knit one actually. You might be bringing it up, Mikey. It also had a short tail. Oh, yeah. Is the entire sentence.
Yeah.
That whole section, at least the first part of it that I copied pasted, it's sectioned out sentence to sentence. The color of it, its tail, what its feet are like, then its hands, genome, and arms as one sentence.
Yeah.
And the way I rewrote it, it switches it into only 3 sentences instead of 4 and kind of keeps it more, makes it flow a little bit better.
Yeah.
Its color, its arms and legs, its digits, and its genome, and then its arms. So it's like HDH1 had a reddish color with some faded brown mixed in, faded charcoal, black for the creature, and it had a short tail and 2 it had a short tail and two digits on its feet and hands, since its base genome had 2 fingers as well, period. The arms of this hybrid were huge, blah, 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 blah. Just so, like, it doesn't have that little tiny... It also had a short tail.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
It's so small you could have easily just combined that into the rest of it.
Yeah. Fair enough. Also, I just like got the impression that like they're making the dinosaurs from that show, Dinosaur.
I may have referenced that later on.
Yeah. All right. On to my next grammar position. It also observed the scientists that were studying it. So I feel like it just needs to be removed the second that were. Because there's no other thing like why there should be 2 like that words. So, like it's not even like a word, like a mixed up word or something like that. It's like just they duplicated the same thing. On to the next one. One day it pretended to be sick, and when scientists came to check on it, he nearly got killed by HDH-01 and escaped. So obviously it pretended to get to be sick. It's just they mixed up the T and the D. Also, like, okay, when a scientist came to check on it. Okay.
Well, you see, he's actually getting his teeth checked out, so it's all dental.
Oh, yeah.
So he's being pre-dented.
It's a preemptive, like, meeting to his actual appointment for dental.
Okay, so it was like the Jurassic World 2 scene where, like, the dinosaur pretends to be, like, tranquilized, and when the bounty hunter goes in to, like, rip out one of its teeth, it like, springs its trap and, like, bites his arm off.
Mm-hmm. We'll go with that.
Sure. Moving right along. Ever since that incident, HDH-01 got tranquilized. Everyone, a worker, entered the paddock. I'm sorry? All right.
No worker.
So, first off, yeah, tranquilized. It's in the sentence actually is tranquilized. It's supposed to be spelled tranquilized with an N. And then I rewrote the story slightly just to like make it more sense, or like not rewrite it, but I like corrected it and just gave it the whole sentence. So ever since that incident, HDH-01 was tranquilized every time a worker entered the paddock. So every time, and I even got rid of the got tranquilized, just because got tranquilized versus was tranquilized seemed better.
Yep.
Yeah. And moving on to the next one. Their heads resembled humans, but I just want to make sure. Oh, yes. This one's a little bit more subtle if you like for saying it, because it's like their heads resembled humans, yada, yada, yada. There is supposed to be the possessive there, not like over there.
Mm-hmm.
The next one. The Utah raptor, as well as other dromaeosaurids, were fully covered in feathers. So I actually double-checked to make sure dromaeosaurid was actually right, and it was wrong. It's actually dromaeosaurid. So there's an A after the M and before the E.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to the next one. The Utah raptor clawed 08 to the chest and badly injured it, but 02 and 07 jumped onto the Utah raptor from both sides. So I feel like it should be the Utah raptor clawed 08 in the chest, not to the chest. And then this one is a bit of a nitpick for clarification, and there's also a spelling error. The rest of the pack quickly overwhelmed and Utah raptor and was eaten alive. So it's supposed to be the rest of the. So the way I clarified it was the rest of the pack quickly overwhelmed the Utah raptor and began eating it alive. I kind of added it just to kind of explain, just kind of help clarify that they are the hybrids are eating the raptor, not they are getting eaten alive.
You don't have to justify every time you use it just because Mikey's here.
I feel like I do. I mean, he's going to bring it up anyway. Like,
if it's in the middle of a sentence, though.
No, that is a front-end story. But like, I mean, and also like, its can be done like poorly. Like if it's like multiple its in the same sentence, like what the hell's an it in that regard? But moving right along. Because of its humanoid body, the horns are located on top of its head, with its frill is positioned horizontally rather than vertically with Triceratops. Sorry? Alright, another fix here on the sentence. Because of its humanoid body, the horns were located on top of its head, period. The frill was also positioned horizontally rather than vertically, like those of a Triceratops. maybe even like those of a regular Triceratops.
Yeah.
Just because, like, reading that, I was like, ugh. There's also a little run-on, so I added a period to break it up.
Yes.
So just a few little, like, tweaks in the break there. So
He didn't fix the front because...
I was actually, like, I literally hummed and hawed about that entire thing. I was like, no, because it's fine.
It really isn't.
It can be. It doesn't always have to be, like, something special. It can just be because. You could go with however, but, like, yeah. Are you going to pick at it in your...
Just because it's an error doesn't mean it's wrong all the time.
Exactly.
You know.
It's not an error. Like,
You agreed with me.
that was before I realized what I was saying.
Yeah. Well, whose fault's that?
Fuck you.
I win. Let's move on.
Yes. HGH-09 received medical help, and HGH-04 and 06 were quickly tranquilized. Again, tranquilized seems to be the misspelled word of the day, because it's
There's no N again.
oh no, it's tranquil, or it's tranquilized. Like there's not an I after or before the L.
No.
So it's like not tranquil, it's tranquil. And on to the next one. Of all the hybrids, HDH-09 was the least aggressive and was mostly peaceful, only attacking when scared or threatened. So this one again is kind of a hard one to like say like in like vocally, but it's aggressive is missing an extra G. On to the next one. Dr. Rogers was able to teach HDH-09 basic sign language, and 09 even tried communicating to the researchers, observing it by imitating sounds of people talking. So communicating, it's a U, not an I in there. Also, HGH-09, MVD, most valuable dino. He is too pure for the story.
Yeah.
Then onto HDH-10. No, onto my next one. HDH-10 often ignored the researchers and spent most its time sleeping by the wall. So most of its time. With the paddocks now unlocked, the hybrids and dinosaurs escaped and wreaked havoc in the facility. It's actually supposed to be wreaked havoc.
Unless Havoc is the private security force that's defending the place.
In which case, yes, it's Havoc Team. Yeah, they wrecked Havoc Team.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. At this point, none of the Raptors hybrids were hungry, but rather killing for sport. So it's just missing an E. It turns it into the French word for no. So it's supposed to be, at this point, none of the Raptors. So slight correction there. 01 instantly chomped down 08, instantly killing it. And the survivors were also crushed in the process.
Instantly.
Yes. One too many instantly. It's like they mostly come at night. Mostly. Also, actually, survivors is spelled right. In this, it's like servors. And the servors were also crushed.
That sounds like a horrible cartoon.
The servors were the other, like, were the never shown or never explained dinosaurs that were also killed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, it's supposed to be survivors. And my final grammar inquisition, I swear.
Sure it is.
Just as HGH-09 died, it gave off slow, deep bellows. So it's supposed to be slow, deep bellows. There's an extra L that will make that a different word entirely. And that is my grammar inquisitions. So, Mikey, what do you got?
Alright, so it looks like I might still have a couple. So there was an extra it when explaining the Carnotaurus. The top of the head through the tail, it was red.
That one I missed too because like the head through through to the tail. I feel like would be another correction for that because I remember reading that and I was like, okay.
Yeah. So the top of the head through to the tail was red.
Yeah.
That makes it so much nicer.
From the top of the head to the tail.
Yeah. That would that's even better.
There we go. We made it awesome.
Yeah.
All right, and then the sort of last sentence here. There's a front butt, and
it wouldn't be a creepypasta without a front butt.
It's they have then rather than than.
Another then that I missed.
Yeah. So, but rather than killing her,
Oh yeah,
Zero
shit.
2 reached out its hand to help her up.
Yep. Fair enough.
Yeah. So that's my grammar inquisitions there.
So you don't have an it story or anything else?
I do have an it story, potentially.
Don't you do that now?
Sure, we can.
Is it an it story or a conjunction junction?
It.
And now for an It Story by Mikey. The E stands for evil. Take it away.
It had also had a short tail. It also observed the scientists that were studying it. It had 3 toes, with a space between the big toe and its other 2 toes. Its paddock was right next to HDH-01, and one day 01 dug a tunnel on the other side. It dragged HDH-10 from the other side and violently tore it apart with its claws and teeth. It, too, was mourning for the pack members it lost. It slowly approached her with a sad look on its face.
In the arms of an angel.
So that changed it to like the T-Rex being the final survivor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Gamer.
I only got one left.
Okay.
And it's really just an area where I think they should use a different descriptor for it.
Sure.
This is, I think this is when describing the T-Rex one. I don't remember which one specifically. Probably T-Rex. 3 spikes also come out of the top of the back of this hybrid as well.
I think that's the Triceratops?
I don't know, but it doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Regardless, I personally go with upper back instead of the way it was described because top it confused me for a minute because I associated top with the uppermost point of the creature.
Yeah.
So it's either a hunchback or it's like on all fours.
Yeah.
So I would switch it to 3 spikes also came out of the upper back of this hybrid as well. So you know it's coming out here,
Yeah.
like right below the neck.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
And that's about all I got.
All right. Well, on to actual thoughts then. Start with this quote. The scientists were surprised to find that small remains of DNA were within the fossils. Okay. So just going to put my reality blinders on because, yeah, as cool as Jurassic Park is, this just isn't a realistic scenario anymore. Since discoveries have been made, since new discoveries in science have been made. Mm-hmm. Also, as the story goes, we almost go TMNT level, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles levels of biomutation and hybridization. Mm-hmm. Tell me I wasn't the only one who was thinking of all those late 80s Saturday morning cartoons about dinosaur people, or the Triceratons from TMNT specifically. As soon as the Triceratops sapien was there, I was like, that's a Triceraton.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just basically turned off my science brain, any kind of scientific thing, and just I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah, because really any mention of dinosaur DNA,
Dino DNA,
it doesn't work because DNA in general has a half-life of about 500 years.
Yeah.
So after millions of years, there's
even in preserved mosquitoes and ambers, that doesn't work quite well. That'd be horrifying. Somebody tries that in reality, and they just end up getting a really creepy mosquito, something that's there's a little bit of fragments of dino DNA, but there's mostly mosquito. So you just get this weird insectoid dino hybrid. But yeah, otherwise, it's just not at this point. It's just not feasible to create one from actual DNA. We can create a simulacrum, if anything.
Yeah.
But again, it makes for great blockbuster thrills and horror. So you gotta just turn off your brain for that part. On to my next quote. They fused a sample of DNA into a chicken embryo and successfully recreated a Utah raptor mixed with a chicken DNA. So, a velociraptor? Since a real velociraptor was as large as a turkey, and feathered and completely feathered.
It's
Well,
making a
like-
Utah raptor. I don't understand
Yeah,
what your question
I
is.
just because like mixing like it was a Utah raptor mixed with chicken DNA. It's like so it's smaller than normal Utah raptor because it's a chicken. You're using chicken DNA.
It doesn't make it the size of a chicken.
I know, but it just or like I don't know. Like just when I first saw it, like my visual was like so you accidentally just shrunk it down to the size of like maybe a turkey at the very least.
No, because like okay, again, this is all Jurassic Park-esque
Yeah.
stuff. But I'm pretty sure in one of the Jurassic Parks they use like a frog DNA to make.
Oh yeah, no,
Stuff?
they use frog DNA as a sequencer. Like to
Yeah,
fill in
but
gaps.
that didn't make the dinosaur the size of a frog. It didn't affect their
That's
size
true.
at all.
But they did. It did change the DNA in that it all the dinosaurs, or a couple of the dinosaurs on the island, which were all supposed to be female.
Yes,
Switched.
spontaneously switched. I know.
So
But-
they could breed. Yeah.
I'm
I know,
bringing
yeah.
that up because it doesn't affect their size as much as what you thought.
I know, and actually, to be honest, this comment was more of a joke. Just because
Hilarious.
yeah, I know. So joke over. I'll be here all week. On to the next one. They were given plenty of food, water, roaming space, and even some human interaction. In what way was the human interaction? Like feeding time? Or were they somewhat domesticated so they were like big pets?
I imagine that.
Yeah, I'm well, and then like in the rest of the story, that's not really the case except for the Triceratops.
Ah.
But
Oh no, actually, no, they
from
did
when
say-
they're
yeah.
when they're young.
Yeah, because they did try to like bond them to the scientists when they were younger.
Well, it's actually conjugal visits.
I'm sorry, what? Can you explain that?
You're gonna have to
What?
elaborate.
Yeah. What?
So they get occasional human interaction in the form of conjugal visits.
What the hell's a conjugal?
Like prison?
It's when
Oh.
your significant other
Okay.
comes to see you in prison.
Okay, so it's like now I'm envisioning like the Triceratops on one end, like one side of the window, and Dr. Rogers on the other side.
Like the hands on the window.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like this when they said that, it was like I had two very different outcomes of that statement. Was like either once feeding out, they just throw in a prisoner in for them to interact with,
Yeah, no.
or it's like again like a dog, like a big dog dinosaur, or like a big pet dinosaur.
Pretty much, because like I've seen some I don't know where they are, but there's like wildlife preservation places.
Yeah.
And they'll have like a strip lion as a cub.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And as long as you're with that lion as it's growing up, it's going to be like really passive to you the entire time.
And it's like basically going to treat you like one of its pride, or
Yeah.
like one of its like pack members, kind of thing. And that's kind of what they tried to do. And again, like in Jurassic World, they do that with the raptors.
Yeah.
Like Owen, the character, the human trainer, basically was like that's how he was able to like ride a motorcycle alongside raptors in the jungle.
It was pretty sweet.
God, love that movie. I know it's stupid, but it's still good.
Hey, if it's fun but stupid, it's still fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So who cares?
All right, and then we get to this part here. So yeah, actually, before I continue, so I also like mentioned earlier, like there's a lot of cue the Jurassic Park themes, and I mean that is one of the big inspirations of this creepypasta.
How do you know that that's the inspiration?
In the comments, the writer actually said that it was based off of the script, and I was like, oh shit, I remember that script from when I read it back in high school, like a decade or two ago.
For some reason, I really thought you were going to say back in Nam. Mainly because yesterday I watched Tropic Thunder with my dad.
Wow. Fair enough. But yeah, so it's just like it was nice to like see like some inspiration like did come out of like that leaked script, and it was only like I think it was like a supposed script, like it was like mostly rumor, even though like there was a script out there. But a lot of the things online are basically of interviews of people who supposedly read the script and like talked about it. And from what I understand, Jurassic World did get some ideas from it. Because I think Owen's character, again the Raptor trainer guy, his character was loosely based off of the main character from that script.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of like a raptor hybrids, because it was going to be like mostly human raptor hybrids, they just use raptors like regular raptors. But moving on to my next quote, this resulted in highly grotesque creatures that were simply labeled as human dinosaur hybrids, or HGH for short. I think Killer Source would be a more suitable label, just to reference internally with our group a movie that we recently watched on a streaming channel, streaming service.
You shouldn't have watched. No, you shouldn't.
We should not have watched Killer Source.
We should have watched it. You shouldn't bring it up. You shouldn't advertise it.
I'm just gonna say, if anybody's like, oh, Killer Source, don't like. I know you're gonna want to see it.
It's not what you think it's gonna be.
It's not. It's not worth the hour and 45 minutes. No, hour and 18 minutes that you're going to spend watching it, because
it's like a scientist drama.
Nothing happens. Like there's not even
two
the
people
visual,
die.
but like nothing happens.
Yeah. Either way, we're not talking about that.
No, I just had to bring it up because we'd recently watched it, and then it was like, then we read this. I was like, oh my god, it's like dinosaur human hybrids. Again, Killer Source is not what you're thinking it's going to be. Don't see it. All right. Before the researchers could tranquilize HDH-01, HDH-10 was already killed and eaten. Give it to the raptors and T-Rex hybrids to be the most violent and try to kill off the more interesting, unique species as hybrids. Like, I actually had a moment of feeling bad for the Carnosapien because it doesn't want to hurt anybody.
It just wanted to chill.
Sleep. Yeah. It wasn't even like, it didn't even care about the scientists. It was just like, whatever, I just want to take a snooze here. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. I was like, I felt really bad for him.
Yeah.
And then on to my next part. They also killed the dinosaurs with chicken DNA. Clearly, because those dinosaurs were cowards. What? Like,
chicken.
Why be that specific, or at least give more of a reason why they killed it? Other it's just weird, like a weird reason, like, oh, they killed the dinosaurs with chicken DNA. It's like,
what?
Yeah, in the story, there's just this comment, like off comment, where as the raptors are killing the people with the guns and so that they also killed the dinosaurs with the chicken DNA. I was like, why? And that's all it says, and then it moves on.
I don't think it means like the humans used chicken DNA to kill the dinosaurs.
No. The raptors killed the dinosaurs that had chicken DNA. That's what it said.
The quote unquote full
dinosaurs. The full dinosaurs. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, I guess maybe that's where it was going for, but like the way it read, the way I was reading it, I was like, okay.
The hybrids killed the hybrids killed the normal dinosaurs.
That's what it should have said.
Yeah.
Yeah, should have made that a little bit more clear.
Well, the reason why they mentioned chicken is because they actually taste delicious. And they had to eat those dinos to heal themselves from the bullet wounds that they've been receiving.
Clearly.
Because this is a video game. As soon as you eat food, it's
especially
immediately healed.
Especially wall chicken. Mm-hmm. So those were wall chicken dinos?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next one. At first, it didn't sound like much, but Dr. Rogers was able to make out what it said. You are my best friend. Then the creature died. Aww. No one told me this was going to be a buddy horror.
Yeah, for like a minute.
Like it comes to her aid, kills fends off the T-Rex hybrid, and then dies protecting her. Mm-hmm. And then oh my god, that was like so sweet and like horrifying at the same time. And then the final quote of the story. Dr. Rogers glanced in horror, and as she saw the raptor hybrid approach her, just kill me already. You and those other abominations killed my friends. You might as well kill me too. But rather than killing her, HGH-02 reached out its hand to help her up. Wow. I wasn't expecting that ending, but I kind of liked the ending. Like how it actually kind of left off on they both lost loved ones or like companions and stuff like that, so they've gone against their evil ways. They're more showed there's actually some human side to the dinosaurs, these monsters. My only problem with this story and with this ending is the rest of the story's formatting. It feels way too paraphrased and abbreviated. There needs to be much more build-up of the characters. Mm-hmm. Actually, I could see this getting an SCP entry treatment and have it be incident logs.
Yeah, that's
and
pretty
such,
much how it felt.
for the whole thing. Yeah, like just have like interviews with like Dr. Rogers to help show like and even interviews with with some of the dinosaurs, just basically explaining like their communication skills and stuff like that, and then have like incident reports of like them like killing this dinosaur and this dinosaur. Like you could actually build, even with that like bureaucratic formatting that the SCP Foundation does, you could have a kind of character building and character moments and plot appropriately delivered, and actually like make the story a lot more fulfilling. Because as it is, it does kind of read as like a more juvenile and goofy story, just because it seems kind of primitive as a writer, because it's like it's just so paraphrased. Like things just happen. Like there's no real build up to them.
Yeah, like all of the backstory about how we got to making dinosaurs is done in like one small paragraph.
Yeah, and then like everything was going well until the hurricane showed up, and then Jurassic Park happened. Like, yeah, I think there was supposed to be a lot more here. Like there could be a lot more heart and scare into this if you just developed it a little bit more, maybe a lot more. But yeah, that's my actual thoughts on the story. It just by the end I liked the ending, I liked the main core plot. It's just it wasn't delivered very well because it seemed like it was written by like this might have been somebody's like first try at writing something. And it was like one of those like short stories that you read in high school, or like you're doing like an early writing class kind of thing. So, but that's my actual thoughts. So, Mikey, what have you gleaned from the story?
Well, I'm going to continue with your talk of the ending, and for me, that whole 02 doing things.
What have we wrought?
Well, there was no real foreshadowing.
Yeah.
For it, so I was expecting like another sentence like Rogers took his claw and then fooled you. Another claw slash.
No, I was expecting that too. Like, yeah. But yeah, there's no. I could kind of see it like as it is, like without foreshadowing. Like it's like, oh yeah, like she's like 02's lost its entire pack. And it's like it is partially human, so it's like, my God, what have we done? What have we wrought? And so like it tries to basically like be the better entity. But and then like an extra line would just make that like fooled you, like you said. It's like the traditional horror ending. It's like, oh, you think it's gonna be happy? No. Yep. And it's like. Hybrid experiment, just like the final, like as the trail, the title drops, and then like the credits start rolling.
All right, and then I have a quote here. The raptor hybrid pack crawled through vents and took out several armed guards by sneaking up to them.
Yep.
Do you realize what's wrong with this?
The ventilation ducts?
The raptors weigh 1,814 kilograms.
What is that in pounds? Damn it.
A lot.
Hang on, let's find that converter.
Well, it's well over a ton, so they weigh as much as a car plus some.
To be fair, a ventilation duct is
I don't think it's a ton.
No. So, again, let's quickly check that.
It's like 1,000 pounds is a ton, isn't it? And this is kilos, which is just a little bit over 1,000
pounds.
Well, it could be a small car,
like a smart car.
All right, so what's the kilogram?
1,814.
So that is almost 2, though. Yeah.
What is that again? So 1,000.
Just do 1,800.
1,800. Okay, cool. That is 3,968 pounds.
1,800 as 1,800.
Yeah.
Okay.
1,800 kilograms equals 3,968 pounds.
Yeah, okay, that's really heavy.
That's
I thought the conversion may have
almost
went
4
the other way.
tons.
Yeah.
And like ventilation ducts, I'm pretty sure are just like very thin aluminum.
Yep.
Sheet metal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That. And how big are these things?
They are
It says.
3 meters tall.
Okay, so a meter is about 3 feet, roughly. So about 9 feet. So again, like a very large human, and most humans can't fit through most standard ducks. Maybe Hollywood ducks,
Yeah.
but not real ducks. Ducks. God, I hate the English language.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's pretty impossible.
So you said Hollywood ducks. I started thinking of like movie ducks,
Like
that
Donald
were,
and
like Donald
Daphne.
and Howard, just all like together, all doing a Mission Impossible mission, crawling through an air duct.
Now I'm just picturing these dinosaurs, like these raptor hybrids, as like in the same art style as like all like Daffy Duck, Donald Duck, and Howard.
Also, air duct could be a subtitle to a Donald Duck movie where he plays basketball.
I think air duct could also just be like. No, it would be more like Sky Duck or something like that for the for like their vehicles, like from Darkwing Duck. Anyway,
Yeah, we should move on before the tangent police show up.
yeah,
All right.
had too many close calls recently. Anyway,
So my next quote here is HDH-08 led the pack, and they figured out how to use the AR-15s that guards had.
they are hybrid humanoids.
Yes,
And-
but we've established they're huge.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Their fingers or claws would not be able to fit.
I mean, the
to
very
the
tip of their
trigger.
claws, like. Yeah, no, it's still really silly.
Yeah, even if that's what actually happened, they use their little tip of their claw and be like, eh. And it's this little tiny gun in this huge 9-foot monster's
Yeah, because I
hands.
mean, 9 foot is like about the size of this, like from the ceiling right now. Like, because you're about what 6 feet tall, 6 feet something
Oh, it's 9 foot.
currently.
He's
You're-
9
you're-
foot currently.
Yeah, in your present form. And so like it's an extra 3 feet, right? So yeah. Oh God, he's growing.
Yeah, so it's and even if they could fire it, it would probably clip their nail.
Yeah.
Because of the force of firing the gun.
I mean,
Recoil.
it depends on the keratin, like construction of the claws. Like it might be stronger and less brittle.
It's stupid
I'm just providing
regardless.
factors into the silly little conjecture.
Yeah. So those were my big annoying points. It's like,
That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
yes.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, they didn't even need to use the guns.
No, really not.
They were more than efficient enough just using their bare hands.
Yeah, they just wanted it because it looked cool. Because I mean, we already established that they noticed that there was security cameras watching them, so they took those down. So like they knew like they're intelligent animals or intelligent entities. I wouldn't even say they're animals at this point. They have human thinking patterns.
No, the reason they took the security cameras down is because of the blinking red lights.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
They're
Like,
just
do you know
strapping.
how hard it is to sleep with a bunch of blinking red lights that never turn off in the middle of the night?
Yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah, they're just animals.
Except for the Triceratops.
Yes. So I guess that's it?
Yep.
Okay. My first note that I took is when it started describing the raptors, saying their height and their kilograms and everything. I like that the kilograms rating for the raptors is it's not a clean number. It's 1814 kilograms, where the other ones are like the T-Rex is 7,800. The Triceratops is 10,000 even. Like they're all these even numbers, like their estimates. Meanwhile, like this is a very specific number, so I kind of wish they were all specific.
Well, the thing is, the other ones broke the scales because of how big they were. And they didn't have the budget to have an industrial scale to weigh them.
I mean, like, look at the condition of their paddocks. So when like 2 of the raptors escaped over their fence, over the paddock, and then the T-Rex dug under the paddock. So like, why
With
would
his
you
tiny little hands.
exactly? No, it was human. It had human length.
Yeah.
hands.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah. But like, that was the biggest thing. Is like, I read that, it was like, those paddocks usually have concrete or something under the ground, like they cover that up. Like it's usually a cement basing with grounded stuff of that there. It's like, why would you?
Yeah, they had cutbacks.
Yeah.
Funding.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, long story short, for my note there, even for the Raptors, even though the 1914 is a good number, because there's 7 of them,
So
they're not all
they're all clones.
1814.
They're all carbon copies. Of
No.
the same, but yeah. No.
So it should be like 1804 to 1824 kilograms.
And you
There's
can
a bunch of them.
And you could definitely get that again with like a bureaucratic like format kind of.
It
thing.
already kind of is though, because
It
it's like
starts
HGH with the scientific name and everything.
Yeah, no, it starts with it, but like it needs to be structured a lot more in order to like make it more fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
And yeah, my next point is also kind of with what you said there, Mikey. With there should be a wall underneath the wall, so you can't dig under it. And also, like, man, pretty shit security team for this, because this this Tyrannosaurus human hybrid, which
nobody saw this Tyrannosaurus Rex digging.
Yeah. He had the time to dig under the wall, capture and drag the other one back into its own area, and start murdering it before they noticed.
It was a Shawshank Redemption plot where it was digging. It's been digging for a while, and it's just been putting like a straw poster of a woman, or a woman dinosaur on top of it.
So it's all just jungle with this one poster.
Yeah, I imagine it would be like just debris or something like that. But like for the gag, it's just a drawing of it's just a poster of like a dino lady.
Of course, yeah.
Because that's what happens in Shawshank Redemption.
Okay, but
I know it's stupid. Yeah. I agree. Like the security team detail. Well, apparently they only had 2 fucking security guards. Yeah. At least that we know of that gets KIA'd.
Yeah, those are the only ones that we know of.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's more. They're making freaking dinosaurs.
Well, to be fair, do they? Because like it takes a little time for them for their security detail to show up with tranquilizers. So it might not be not be that many people there.
Yeah, it's been outsourced.
Yeah.
The facility a few blocks away.
It's outsourced by Havoc Squad. It's just 2 guys.
Jeez.
Yeah. And continuing, so the whole Shawshank Redemption, the T-Rex is trying to escape, but he ends up going into another cell and be like, "Oh, son of a!"
He's just angry at that point, so he wants to kill something.
Yeah.
He didn't do it specifically to kill him.
Yeah.
He was just trying to escape.
He just has anger issues.
Yeah. That's totally understandable. But moving on.
Those raptors, though, they're the ones that are sociopaths because they kill for sport, not for just because they're hungry.
I mean, the T-Rex was pretty vicious as well for no reason.
He was just angry. He's like, "God damn it!"
Well, like, even before
all I had to
that,
do was wait for a hurricane, and I actually killed my favorite my buddy Carnosaur. I don't know.
I don't think we're buddies.
No, probably not. They weren't the buddies in this buddy horror.
No.
It's clearly Dr. Rogerson.
Did you know what a Carnosaur was before this?
Carnosaurus.
It's essentially a T-Rex with like 2 little stupid horns on his head.
Yep.
And he has more useless hands.
Yeah.
Because they're even tinier.
I brought it up like 2 episodes ago.
I didn't know he had tiny useless hands.
Yeah, well,
like
they're slightly beefier, but from the drawing, the images I've seen, they're a little bit beefier than a T-Rex. But yeah,
I've
they're
seen the
basically
complete opposite.
Oh, really?
I've seen them they're like fledgling, like barely even their hands.
I meant beefy as in like they're like thicker, not like better.
Oh, okay. Beefy would mean like better.
I meant like
everywhere.
tubbier. Like they're little nubs.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're actually the main threat or main like villain monster dinosaur in the Disney movie Dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess they wanted to like break away from like just using a T-Rex.
And then they said they used something that's a T-Rex with horns and shittier horns.
Yeah.
It's still a T-Rex though.
Basically.
But moving on. Hurricane time. So,
Hurricane Stan. Right?
yes.
Sorry.
That's fine. Hurricane Stan hits the area, caused power outage in the facility. With the packs unlocked, the hybrids and dinosaurs escaped and wreaked havoc in the facility. Havoc Squad died.
Wreaked havoc.
No, they killed the Havoc Squad. I don't think that this is how this would even work, because if the power went out, that means the doors would be unable to open.
No.
If the power is there to lock and unlock the door. So if the doors are already locked and the power goes out, that means that they're just still closed.
So
it won't open.
First point here, that's exactly what happened in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Is the hurricane came in and the door and all the power went out, so the doors all became unlocked.
Yeah, but that's not how it works.
And the second point, that's basically the premise of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Because the doors are powered closed. not powered open.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
Which is also stupid.
Exactly.
But it's a gameplay mechanic in that.
But again, like in Jurassic Park,
clock mechanic
it's
in
what
this.
they do in Jurassic Park. I mean, like, is that how magnetically locked doors work? Like, it has to have.
Are they magnetically locked?
I think is that how like the magnetic doors like? Oh, that's the only explanation I can see why the doors would like suddenly be open from being locked. Is if it was maybe magnetically locked, but if that's
Because something
how
would need
that
to be
works.
powered that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's just like the power actuates a freaking steel bar to go in like normal doors, like when we turn
Then
the
bam,
lock.
like you don't like you need the power to unlock it, not to close, not to keep it locked.
Yeah.
That seems really silly. Mind you, they did learn from their mistakes in Jurassic Park. Because in Jurassic World, I think when the power goes out or something like that, the doors are all like sealed still.
Yeah. Because there's still just
I
a
think
bar in between.
I think it's also like they're. I think in Jurassic Park, it's that like because the power went out, like there was a safety protocol engaged to unlock the dinosaurs out of unlock the doors so that the dinosaurs wouldn't starve to death and wouldn't die in the pens.
Yeah.
I think that was the why they were locked, why they were the mechanism was like that.
Weird.
It was, and unfortunately, it was like it was a failsafe that they didn't think about. That's the thing about the horror of Jurassic Park is like it's human error. Like they didn't think about the repercussions of a hurricane coming over the island and
In the fourth time that they did this,
in the event of a hurricane. No, in the first movie, like in a place though that constantly has hurricane seasons, like. Yeah.
They're only human after all. I won't put the blame on them.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Long story short of my thing here, it's silly. They wouldn't have popped open. I don't think. If it's magnetic, maybe because power would probably need to be there.
But that needs to be a little bit explained,
Yeah.
because otherwise, it does come off as a little silly.
And then while we're talking about Jurassic World and all that, I didn't know that this was a referenced from a leaked plot.
Yeah.
Before Jurassic World came out. But just in my reading it, I'm like my general feeling of it is like all this has been done.
Yeah.
And it's kind of unfortunate for that. That's kind of into final thoughts. My last note is the ending. So essentially the raptors realize the horror of what went on and suddenly stop acting like animals. It's almost like they're setting up and they lived happily ever after. Which is not what you want in a horror story. It doesn't make it scary.
But at the same time, I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was a nice little touch of like, aw. Like,
the raptors have been the most animalistic out of all of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
actually, I'd say the T-Rex was probably more animalistic because it was really it was killing and eating things. The raptors had more human, in cunning to them. Because they offed the Havoc Squad and then
that doesn't make them
guns
more human. Okay, well, okay.
It makes them more cunning. It makes them less, animalistic. Because it seemed like the T-Rex one was more of, it was just doing it because it was hungry, because it was chomping down on things, not just killing them.
I don't know. I thought the ending was kind of weird
That's
and dumb. It kind of ruined the mood for me. If there was any mood there to begin with. But aside from final thoughts, that's all it's there.
Okay. So, on to final thoughts then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, as is... I really can't recommend it, though damn it, I kind of want to. I feel like it needs to be developed more before I recommend this story. It needs, maybe go with the SCP entry or, kind of format, the bureaucratic forms and stuff like that to kind of, build up the story a little bit better, to structure it more. I do want to stress that I think there's a cool idea here, even as the skeleton of a plot. It can work. It just needs to be fleshed out way more in some way. So that's my final thoughts and recommendations. Is I actually didn't mind it. I think actually the buddy horror thing should be amplified a little bit more. And maybe I didn't mind the ending. It seemed I didn't really see it as I saw it as silly. But the thing is, horror can be silly, and can end silly, in a silly way. But yeah, or have it like you said, Mikey. Where there's an extra line where then Rogers gets killed.
Yeah.
Fooled you. Or just drop that. And just have it just ends with Rogers dealing with being left there with all her dead friends. To leave it on a tragic note. But yeah, That's my final thoughts and recommendations. There's a cool idea here. It just needs to be fleshed out a lot more, and maybe structured slightly differently. Because as it is, it's kind of paraphrased and summarized, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm not recommending this. The whole AR-15s and the
It really just ruined everything. Just table flipped the whole fucking computer.
Yeah, and then the whole ending sort of comes out of Left Town.
Yeah.
Which is the best town to come from, but...
Yeah, but there should have been some foreshadowing in regards to the Raptor
Like
hybrid.
some kind of remorse.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like that would be interesting if they added like some kind of detail before like all this happened, that like one or two of them did show some signs of like companionship or admiration for like human, or like showed some human like now I want to keep saying intelligence or cunning, but that's not what the word I'm looking for. Some human
traits.
Human traits other than like just deadly intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's
like perhaps showing some compassion for their fellow pack members to kind of show that they are like kind of, and even like
they did it.
They showed, or at the end, but like have some foreshadowing like in later in the story or earlier in the story, or even like show like maybe even a few of them like have some compassion, like show some restraint when like maybe somebody gets like maybe the interaction thing at the beginning, like when they were mentioning that.
Yeah. But yeah, as it is, it's definitely not recommended.
Yeah. And I guess on to Gamer.
Yes. So, as I briefly said before, the story as a whole has been done before. The basic, before me even knowing that this was a Jurassic Park 4 plot, I immediately connected it to the basic plot of Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Scientists make dinos. They want to make hybrid dinos. Hybrid dinos escape and kill a bunch of people.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened in both of these things.
And to be fair, it's also not even like there are tons of sci-fi movies, like sci-fi horror movies that are like that.
Yeah.
Again, Killersaurus. But other ones
it didn't
that are
escape
better.
anywhere.
It didn't escape, but like it almost did.
Not really.
But like there are other movies like that. Like again, like I think that's the main plot. That's how like the Sci-Fi Channel has kept going from these years. Is like plots that are very similar.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you can. Like, just because it... now, my counter to it is, like, just because it has been done doesn't mean it can't not be done again. Like, yes, it's retreaded material, but it can be done if you make it a different... If you try a different route of it.
Yeah.
Or, like, try a different perspective. Like, again, like, the bureaucratic format would be interesting to have that with this plot.
Mm-hmm. And it's changed enough that, it's not just... Like, they don't look like dinosaurs. They're human-esque dinosaurs doing these things. So it's different, but like in the actual normal plot that was going to be Jurassic Park 4, were they planning on doing human dinos?
Oh yeah. It was human raptor hybrids that were genetically neutered, so the basic. It sounded like Hammond or like InGen was basically created these raptors and like hired this mercenary dude to like lead them back onto Isla Nublar because the dinosaurs were wreaking havoc. And basically wipe out the rest of the dinosaurs, and they made them genetically neutered so that they couldn't breed. So that basically once they killed all the other dinosaurs, they would die out, and that would be the end of the dinosaurs. Like that was basically the plot. Was going to be like kind of a bug hunt for like killing like off all the feral dinosaurs that were on Isla Nublar.
These like humanoid dinosaurs that probably talk.
Yeah, and or like they communicate in some way that the mercenary could understand, and then obviously they'd go become like at the second end of the story, they'd go not haywire, it's not machines, but they'd go feral or they'd go wild, and now the main mercenary guy has to deal with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which
is basically what happened in Jurassic World.
Yeah, and in Jurassic World 2, they actually they improved that, or they used. It seems like that leaked script might have been used cannibalized for material for Jurassic World and Jurassic World 2, because in Jurassic World 2 we get the Indoraptor, which is a genetic hybrid raptor that is programmed, like genetically programmed to like respond to like a light and a signal on a gun. To attack the target that the laser light has, and then on the it has a command, basically a certain like signal on a command button that will send it to attack that.
Yeah.
So, and then it shows like almost human levels of cunning, and like where it like tries to like basically it stalks into the room and like pulls the blanket away from the little girl before it goes to kill them. Like it shows like this evil like cunning to it. So, and I think it would have been a lot sillier. It would have actually probably been sillier if it had been like a human in a suit kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas it is in that movie, I think they went the better route. Honestly, if I'm being honest with myself, they went the better route of making making it still a dinosaur, and not a human dinosaur hybrid.
Yeah, honestly, it would
Human dinosaur hybrids are more left to B movies, and I mean those are still fun, but they're not good movies.
It could potentially derail a AAA franchise.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, again, like for this story, like, and that kind of thing is something you could do in the creepypasta, because creepypastas have a range of like being like really good, like scary stories, and then being like weird, silly, scary stories.
But that's my problem with this. I don't know where this is trying to lie.
Yeah, because it's paraphrased so much, or like it's so like kind of like all over the place.
Kind of, yeah, because like the ending is silly. Giant dinosaurs holding tiny guns.
Yeah.
It's like Tiny Guns Corridor Digital. That's probably how it looks.
And then Triceratops was like, "You are my best friend."
Yeah. And then the end.
It just seems, like, I feel like it needs to lean. I feel like for this story, it'd be better if it just leaned into the silly, into the weird.
Well, I think it is. It's not trying to be like overly serious with it all.
Yeah.
Because the dinosaurs wouldn't have been holding guns.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I think, like, again, I keep hammering my opinion here. I think the bureaucratic format would treat it like SCPs, because there are some SCPs that are like very silly in concept, but are treated seriously. Like like Lord Blackwood, the snail. And that's done as like a form and like serious format and stuff like that. Like, I feel like it would give it the kind of horror gravitas of a bureaucratic form, and then at the same time be able to hold that silly concept. And
with most creepypastas, the one way to make it better is just to make it longer. Because that gives you more time to explain stuff. Like, for example, in Jurassic Park, when the raptors like open the door, they don't just walk up to it and open it and it's open.
No,
they have to figure it out for a second.
Exactly.
Where in this, it's just like the raptors are killing people, then they pick up guns and start using them.
Yeah.
But there's no period of them like trying to figure out how to use it.
Yeah, and
it's just they instantly know.
Yeah, and in the movie, that's tension building.
Yes.
It's like, what?
And it could have been tension building in here as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they could have we could have had a scene where like one of the surviving guard, maybe like a surviving member of Havoc unit, like reported back that like described like in a detailed report how he saw the raptors like figuring out the weapon, the guns, after killing a bunch of his squad members.
Yeah.
And then they don't know how to use this, and they shoot one of their own members, like,
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the base, like, plot of this and, like, getting inspiration from Jurassic Park, I understand getting the inspiration from other things and letting that build what you have, but this is essentially, from the sounds of it, exactly what Jurassic Park 4 is going to be.
Yeah, but I mean, that didn't happen. So
yeah, I know. But there's also a reason that sometimes plots are left on the cutting room floor.
That is true.
Because it didn't really work. And yes, you can sometimes take that and make it work, but I don't know if this technically did that.
No, like, again, like I feel like the reason that script did not work as well as it did. First off, it was a bad time for Jurassic Park because Jurassic Park 3 had just come out, and a lot of people did not like that movie. Mm-hmm. But like the whole idea, this is like that script was definitely like that was a Roger Corman film. That was not a Universal film. This and not saying like Roger Corman's like movies are bad. Like they're fun and they're silly.
Yes.
And they can have some scares, but they're usually silly. Like Carnivore, actually, Carnosaur, which is the Jurassic Park ripoff that he did, that Roger Corman did, had scares, but was also kind of a silly concept because literally they were making dinosaurs out of chicken eggs, and then eventually there was the virus that was behind that they exposed to humans, so that people women were getting pregnant with like dinosaur eggs and dying, and like basically it was a plot by the lead scientist to wipe out the human race and bring in a new era of dinosaurs.
Well, that's nice of him.
Yeah, well, her.
Oh, whatever.
So yeah, it's a silly concept.
Yes.
But it was done in a horror way, and the first movie is actually very horror themed, and then the other ones were kind of more like Alien, so they were action horror. So again, silly things and like jump scary and stuff like that. But anyway, like there's a place for that.
Yes.
And like this story tries to do that.
If this was meant to be B-rated the whole way, it would feel better.
Yeah.
But like the SCP like entries kind of made it feel like it's trying to be more serious, but then it turns on its head at the end. So that's why it's confusing to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as a recommendation goes, I don't know if I can really recommend it because this whole feeling of cutting room floor stuff has been like doubled down for me this week because I recently started watching Aaron from Game Grumps start playing a playthrough of Mario 2, the Lost Levels one.
Oh yeah.
And he's essentially like, it's honestly the same thing. It's like there's a reason that this isn't the actual Mario 2, that they use that Doki Doki Panic game because they made this and they're like, oh, this isn't good. Let's just take this other game. And that's kind of what this story is too. It's an old previous plot that they weren't going to use.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like that's why you like if you can find a different angle to take some of those like materials, you can cannibalize. Like that's why I keep using the word cannibalizing as like pulling like fragments of it, not using the whole thing as it is again, because there's a reason that was on the ground.
Yeah, and from the sounds of it, it's not the whole thing because you say that like he's going to go with these to go wipe out the other dinosaurs, and that doesn't happen here. So it's different. It's not exactly that script put into a creepypasta.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it does take inspiration from it, but.
Yeah, and I feel like there was some heart and some like to want to make this a story. Like I really like the idea, the core idea of the story. I just feel like it needs to be elaborated a lot more on. Mm-hmm. That's the only way I could really recommend the story is if it was developed a lot more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And have more characters in it and more character-defining moments.
That's the thing. Make us give a damn about the Triceratops sapien and Dr. Rogers. Like, all we get is, like, the Triceratops sapien bonded quite well with Emily Rogers.
Start learning sign language a little bit.
Exactly. Sign language, trying to communicate. And then that's all we get about them. And then we go on to the other dinosaurs. I feel like there was...
It should be like they're the main characters, and then the others are monsters. And, like... She's talking to that dinosaur through sign language. Yeah. And that dinosaur is telling her what those other dinosaurs are like in their own dinosaur language.
Exactly. Like, that's what I mean. Like, to have that ending where, like, you are my best friend. Like, have more fucking build up to that than just like, it bonded with her, like, from childhood. And, like, focus on that a little bit more. And then show, like, the other dinosaurs just aren't developing that because they're all carnivores. Mm-hmm. Like have some again, like that's the stuff you got to build up. You got to put more meat on the bones for the story. For us to give a damn about her, like being the last survivor and losing her friend there, to give us a fucking buddy horror. Yeah. And then like maybe even give some like give Zero. If you're gonna make 02 like a survivor as well, give it a little bit more attention than just like
it should have been 08. Yeah, because he's the one who had a little bit of character defining moments because he. He has, like, scars on him from the raptor attack and stuff. Like,
no, that's the Triceratops has scars from when they raptor attacked.
No.
Oh, no, from the other raptor attack.
Yes, the first raptor attack.
The Utah raptor.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, he was the leader. He's like the blue equivalent. Yeah. You know, but he dies and
then we get 02, it's like we went from like Blue gets killed off, even though they were building her up the whole time, and then we end up with I had one of their other names. Future me. Insert the name of one of the other raptors from Jurassic World. Go.
Well, the raptor pack was Blue, obviously, and then Delta, Echo, and Charlie.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one, exactly. And then suddenly getting that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it's just, I hear you. Like, I wanted to like the story, but I can't for the life of me recommend this.
Mm-hmm. In its current form, I can't recommend it, but with tweaks to make it either more SCP... Well, honestly, I really would like to see this SCP style. But either way, any kind of tweak
Yeah, like I'm proposing the SCP style just because like it would make the more sense with all the like specifications we get in the story,
and because it's like a facility ran by people
exactly.
that are
Yeah, like
studying them.
yeah, and like not saying like this has to be an SCP. Like this could just be like the whatever. Make up a company name like for the genetic company lab. Like do like all the like the.
What was that name I gave them?
What the hell was it? It was like
It's a stupid typo of yours.
Aegean or Aegean, I think. Or
Yeah, because it was a typo of
Aegean.
again.
Yeah, Aegean.
Yeah. Aegean genetics.
Yeah, or Aegean.
Aegean genetics. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it would be really interesting if it was focused on them, and like I really would like to see how a writer would do it, where like a person is talking to a dinosaur that they can communicate with, not verbally. 100%.
Yeah, it'd be
but that dinosaur can talk to other dinosaurs in their dinosaur language, so he could talk about how the raptors are fucking insane and
how
stuff
the T-Rex
like this.
and how the Snorlax. I mean the Carnosaurus. That's all I kept thinking with the it's just a fucking Snorlax.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then like how the T-Rex is just always hungry.
Yeah.
Or is like constantly looking for a way to escape. So they try to like build they maybe Dr. Rogers tries to convince the Aegean industries to increase the security, but they won't do because of rollbacks.
And all that.
Yeah, rollbacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like that kind of stuff, like you can again build up the story a little bit more than just a 3 to 4 page summary story, which is what it kind of felt like. Like make us give a damn. Mm-hmm. And like, because there's obviously some work in here to do that, but it wasn't all the way.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I forgot to mention it with the last line that 09 gives.
Yeah,
where he's saying you were my best friend. I kind of wish he just said friend.
Yes,
because he can't talk.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
How would he string a sentence together?
Yeah, exactly. Just like, you friend.
Yeah, something really simple.
Yeah, like.
Because he's also dying.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, is this sillier? Now, it's speaking. Is that sillier than during the Permian era, like Permian Killer one, where like Hades like starts just like you should have left our bones in the ground. Like
that was all magic and shit. It doesn't matter.
There's ghost dinosaurs and supernatural.
This is a potentially intelligent hybrid mixed dinosaur that someone has been training with and teaching them sign language, and that like it said previously that they've been hearing humans talk and trying to emulate their words, so it was led up to do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
I did not have a problem with that dinosaur talking.
Yeah.
But just it should have been less talking.
Yeah, less talking, not a full sentence.
Yeah.
Because it's still in its infancy stage in terms of development.
Could have been worse. Could have went into like a full monologue.
Or it just could have been Alan. Just the raptor. It's like, Rogers. That's what 02, like how 02 that's how like Rogers here's 02. She just hears behind her, Rogers.
has his hand in it.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's nothing else left to be said about the hybrid experiment.
No.
Cool. That was this week's episode. If you liked what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. You can also help us spread like a virus on iTunes or any other streaming site that you listen to us on by sending some rating and review. Just help us, let us know how we're doing. You can also contact us on Twitter. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without the W because his name's too long.
It has to be.
And I'm at Review Cultist. And if you'd like to help support the show, you can go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigamortis and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, extra content, and early access. And every little bit helps. For our patrons that are already helping support the show, thank you guys immensely. You're awesome. And you're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. We always appreciate that. And to our listeners and the writers of these stories, thank you guys immensely. Because seriously, without you guys, we really wouldn't have much of a show. So, thank you. Until next time, I've been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis, signing off for Dinovember 2019. Sleep well.